recording.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're back, you guys, and we're talking to Cree Media, and we're gonna find out who, where, what she does. This is the Elon podcast, and thank you for watching. So, Cree, this is my technically first time meeting you. Is that
Yeah, I
yeah?
believe so.
Did we meet at a show before?
I feel like we have, but I couldn't tell you which show.
Right,
we
you're
we
outside.
have.
So, tell us like what you've been doing, what transpired with your creativity, because it seems like you've done a little bit of it all over the years, and where you are in your life right now.
So I would like to refer to myself as like a urban renaissance woman. And the role I play is going where my spirit leads, but I'm like a facilitator. I'm like the middleman, the liaison between pretty much everybody within the music scene, the local art scene here. I'm the person that people are, they want me to coordinate their events, but if I'm not coordinating their events, I'm working the staff at their events, or just I'm present, I'm in the room, and the energy I bring to the room is just, you know, making it okay to just be free. I'm a dancer. I love to dance. So just me being in that room, it matters so much to the local artists, because sometimes they just need that one person to be like, yeah, I rock, she rock with our music. So if I'm there, I'm dancing or I'm mingling, and I'm just walking up to people and just letting them know how talented they are. So I'm kind of like, I would say I'm like a catalyst in a lot of ways. And I have done so much. I've always been a person with multiple talents, and I just go with my spirit leads. And I've tried to take the back seat a little bit this year, like kind of more so helping people with their events as opposed to being in the front leading. So you may see me working the door at Speakeasy Thursdays, but I'm also helping funneling in the talent. I'm also, a part of the selections that goes down with whoever performs. And I also just recently helped to coordinate the Afrofuturism Surrealism art event with Dogon Krieger, which was really great. So you can see me in the front or the back. I'm either if I'm not coordinated, I'm a part of the event team, or you'll see me performing too. So I do a little bit of everything.
Nice. Where did it start for you?
Where did it start? So yeah, that's kind of a loaded question. I would say in 2018 was when I first came to the scene. I really started out just going out to different events. I was just so wowed by the talent we had here. So I was just like, let me just go and see what's going on, and just sharing on my social media what's going on. And before I knew it, it turned into a brand, you know. And I've always been the person that's wanted to tell somebody about a new book I read, wanted to tell people about music or movies. So it became a brand around 2018. And we've had a lot of ups and downs since then, like a lot of highs and lows. But before then, I was always I don't know, I'm a mother. So like 2018 was when I actually got a chance to really get out and do stuff. I was modeling before then. And before then, I was just at home with my kids a lot. I was in graduate school, college, and all that. But now looking back, I was the same person in college. In college, I was one of the lead choreographers on the dance team. And I also was like a mentor to incoming freshmen. I was a teaching assistant. So I've always been a person that has been in the forefront. It just looks different as the years goes on, if that makes sense.
Right. So one, I want to thank you for your service and like supporting the art community, because it's something that comes few and far between. What transpired inside of you to make you feel convicted to be the support for a lot of these artists? Because that doesn't really come in the state of South Carolina. That doesn't really come up. You don't get that a lot. So where does that come from with inside you? Was it a situation that happened, or it's just like, no, I feel you feel the need to, or you as an empath? Like where are you with that?
Yeah, I would say that's a little bit of both, where I would say around 2017, 2016 was when I started to get out and notice events that were taking place. And this was around the time I was going through a breakup. My the guy who I thought was the love of my life, he had to move to another state. So I was really heartbroken and just looking for stuff to do. I was like, I don't believe in letting life just stop me. I have to get out and be active. So when I was on that journey of let me just get out here and do something or just peep the scene, see what's going on, I was just like, wow, it's so much talent here. And people don't know that this exists. People literally don't know that it exists. So I felt, in a sense, naturally who I am. If I like something, I'm gonna talk about it. Like food. If I love a restaurant, baby, you never gonna stop hearing about that restaurant. So what would happen was I would just be in natural conversations where people would be like, yo, I'm looking for something to do. And I would just be that person that's there, like, yo, I just went to this really great event and it was this, that, and the third. And then they would just say, oh, I'm gonna show up off the strength of what she just said. So it became more of like, it's just a part of me to just want to share the love. That's kind of like what I grew up in. If you see something valuable, you tell people about it, you share the love, and then it kind of just became a brand. I've had people tell me you're like a walking enterprise. Like you don't even have to have a product tied to you, but if you say it, people pay attention to it. So my love, my passion is just one of those things that you gonna feel it, you gonna hear it. And I also very passionate about art because I feel like art is our healing. It's how we heal, it's how we connect with others, it's how we connect with ourselves. So I want people to get the love and shine that they deserve, you know.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That really is beautiful and appreciate it. You just talked about art. When did art become of a high value to you in your life, and you found it to be this source of healing? Because I don't think a lot of people understand how much that can be. Like a walk through a museum or walk through an art show can really like change your mindset, and no one ever thinks about that. Like, so when did that start? When did that first strike you?
Well, I want to say when I was younger, I grew up like singing in the choir. I didn't really want to sing, but our parents made us do it. But I always loved music. I always loved dancing. I would say dance is my sanctuary. So I
Mm,
would spend dancing in the mirror to songs. I would learn songs off the radio, but then I also had a writing gift myself. I always would write essays. I would win essay programs and stuff. And I started writing poetry when I was in middle school. And I remember some of the things that I wrote about, like, wow, like I had a lot on my mind. So that poetry allowed me to kind of just, put feelings into words that I couldn't really speak these words to people. But when I put it in a poem, it's like, oh, it's making sense. Now I can read this back. So I would write raps in high school. My raps, I remember talking about that. And I, I was in it was Lil Jon and the East Side Boys and Knuckles You Buck, it was that era. So I was on some craziness, but I would write R&B songs and I would write poetry. And
right.
those were meaning and the love was. So I feel like it started when I was younger. And then I realized that I needed it. There were times where it was like, if I don't have times where I went away, there was a time I couldn't dance because I have spine injuries from giving birth. So there was a time where the pain got so bad I couldn't dance. And I realized how terrible my life was at that time where I couldn't dance. So now you won't see me sitting down. I may be in pain, but I'll try to push through it. But it also has brought me healing in my physical life. Like if I did not have that, same with yoga, so I realized art is just art has always been my go-to, kind of like a drug, like some people try to they smoke or they drink, and I'm like, let me dance or let me write music or let me write. And those are the things that brings me back to center.
Wonderful. That is wonderful. That's appreciated. I know a lot of people that hear this will see a similar vibe within themselves. Um, so tell me, what did you study in your undergrad?
Psychology.
Nice. What was your reason for studying psychology? Everyone has a different, did you want to understand the world more, yourself more, a little bit of both?
Yeah, I would say a little bit of both. I'm naturally a person that's curious and want to know how things work. I always wanted to know how people work. And I did have intentions on being a counselor. Life had other plans. I did go to graduate school twice, once for social work, once for school counseling, but I would never finish due to some other reasons. But the spirit has always been there. I'm like, I want to get down to what are people's problems and what do we need to get through these problems. And I've always just been kind of naturally kind of nosy. Like I would get in trouble for reading a lot when I was younger. I'm supposed to be cleaning up, but I'm
Yeah,
over in the corner like I'm just trying to figure stuff out.
it's appreciated though. That's appreciated. It's become
Yeah.
much of who you are now. Can you name some of your what artists are you closest to? And what artists do you have it? Well, you've met pretty much everybody. So like what artists do you really support and you like that comes to mind first? Name like a couple, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I would definitely say Mila. Definitely say Mila. Ever since I came across her and found out that she even existed, I was like, oh my gosh, they have to know about her. Really, really love her. Tam the Vibe, of course. I actually work on her team as a part of Speakeasy Thursdays. And let me think of it's so many. Like it's so many, but like they're like definitely like two. And I love some of my girls from the upstate, Swank and Sausalina. I feel like all of these women speak my language. Like they speak like we all have different personalities, but like they speak to something in their messages resonate with me. So I like raw authenticity. I like shit talk. I like just truth, raw, ugly truth. So those are some artists that kind of just come to mind that I really go hard for.
No, I know they appreciate that. I love Swank too. She's awesome. She, I
Yeah.
really appreciate her. Really appreciate her. She would survive. Looking forward to her because she keeps putting out projects and she threw me for a loop the last time we had an interview with her and she had put the project out like a few days later. I was like, oh my gosh, survive. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm Sausalina, I need to look into. And Mila, yeah, I need to
Mill.
Mila.
Yes. Oh.
Nice. What events? So when you put on events, what is the intention and what are you aspiring to do within the community for the artist and for yourself?
I'm always aiming to try to give something different and try to give variety, if that makes sense. Like something wholesome. Like if you were to, you know, if somebody invited you to dinner, I'm trying to have like a menu item that you're like, wow, I would have never thought to put this on here. This is good. So I want it to be wholesome. It's something that's impactful, something that invokes feeling. So that's kind of have been my mindset with anything that I create. Like my first show, the Week and I'll Eat show. I didn't see many all female lineups. When I did, there were men that decides these are the women that get to shine. They either extremely sexual or they're the drug dealer types or they're the real gangster types. And I don't have a problem with either of those women. I wanted other women who never get that shine. So I put literally every type of woman you can think of on that stage. So I'm also thinking of giving artists opportunities because I have a way of going about who gets the opportunity. If I had a great interaction with a person, or if I feel like, yo, I'm watching these people grind and I don't see nobody putting them on, or maybe they are getting put on because they earned that spot. So I'm trying to think, who can I put on that has not been put on, or who really just deserves to be on here because they're going to make a great experience. So I'm always thinking like, I think I always want the audience to walk away like I met some new people. I met some people that could mean something to me. And I want the artist to walk away with, man, I feel valued in this space. I feel valued. I feel like I'm building my tribe. Yeah.
Nice. What would you say? What advice would you give to a young artist coming up right now in this area,
Hmm.
from in South Carolina specifically? What would you tell them? What would you suggest them to do in order to like build themselves? and start a name?
Hmm. I would tell them to definitely try to get clear on what it is they're trying to represent and to stay true to themselves so that they can attract the type of tribe that's going to support them. Because I feel like a lot of artists are confused. They're like, well, I don't really want to make this kind of music, but I'm going to make it because that's what's getting attention. Because they feel like, if you just be yourself, you're going to have to take the longer route. And I believe if they just be themselves, and all you need is a couple of people to be a part of your tribe and your team that's going to support you, you're going to get to where you need to go. But that first thing you have to do is really like, who are you? And it's okay if you don't know who you are, but who are you now, and what are you trying to portray, and what do you want to be remembered by? Like, do you really want to be remembered by talking about dealing drugs that you never dealt? Like, is this really the impact you want to make? Because that's not who you are. Eventually, it's going to show, it's going to come out. And that's just a random example because anybody could feel like an imposter in a space. But I feel like just being very intentional about, who do I make music for? Do I make music? It's okay to make music for yourself. It's okay to make music for other people. But at the end of the day, can you go to sleep and feel good about what you put out, as opposed to I'm just trying to follow this formula that seems like it pops? Because I feel like the real formula is being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And once you be yourself, you will eventually find the tribe of people that appreciate that.
Nice. When you said that, it made me think of like there was a question I was thinking about. I used to do music heavily, and it really dawned on me one big thing that turned me off. You can't pick your audience, and
Mm,
that's where it hurt me a lot. My own personal self was like the involvement and understanding that like my audience was looking like Darius Rucker. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I did not feel comfortable with that because I was just like, that's not the image in the music. Even though my music isn't R&B or hip hop, we are, multifaceted people. We do many things. So why
mm,
you just, why was it, I was definitely more along the lines of Tracy Chapman and stuff like that. And I'm just like folky, soulful. But like the people that were listening to that didn't look like me and didn't weren't engaged enough. And like it was not the main reason, it was really the people I was working with, because it was just like what I learned about the industry is you have a lot of vampires that will come and just like
mm,
out of nowhere. They'd be like, I'll try to be cool with you. And then the whole intention is just to steal pieces of your personality, pieces of
mm.
what you do. And when I say that, once that dawned on me, it took many years, many, many years to dawn on me. But once it did, I was like, oh, heck, what did I get myself involved in? Like all these different people and personalities that don't really care about me, that don't have my best intention, that just want the limelight so bad and will play out any storyline to make themselves appear greater than, even
Mm.
though I may have been the one writing it, I may have been the main talent behind it. So I was okay with like dropping everyone and everything from that part of my life and just like starting over, which was fine. But like that's neither here nor there. It's just the whole idea of like you don't get to pick your audience. That's what it still gets to me to this day, because I'm just like, would I have ever stopped if I saw more people that look like me? I don't think
Wow.
I don't think I would have ever stopped. But I didn't have that. It was because to me, growing up in South Carolina, it was like, how, people can be, and they can, play a lot of mind games and reduce
Hmm.
your value to like this. They do their best to make sure, especially if you're like happy, you're doing your best in life. If you're really good at what you do, they'll say, really snarky remarks to you to make you to devalue, to put you on the level that they feel every day.
Yeah.
That's when, and I was just like, but y'all the same people that want to come see me at a show. I don't get it.
Oh man.
I don't
That
get it. I,
ooh,
I heavy.
sad.
Yeah, it was. That was. I was. I'm sorry. I just like unpacked like trauma, but it's
Oh,
just,
because that needs to be discussed, and that's something that I don't think about often. I do think about it, But of course, like it hasn't really been my experience because I guess because I had to end up, I always found people that look like me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just to hear that, like, wow. And we know it exists because I hear from those, those artists that they can't quite fit into a neat box. And you all the while they have you thinking, well, we're on your side. But then you're like, wait a minute. So I see how that can be confusing. And what you really probably needed was, I just need to find the market that looks like me, and it might take a while to get it, but most people get so burnt out, and it's so valid. It's so valid. You just get so burnt out, like, I can't do this anymore. Like
You just lose interest because it's just like the people, they're like either narcissist or vampires. Like that's the best way I can put it. Like they literally, you can feel yourself literally physically getting weak sometimes when you're around them, especially when you're empathic. And like it just be the creatives, some understanding being a creative means being a beautiful chaos majority.
yeah,
That's another thing. I was just like, I wasn't okay with that. I was like, I'm trying to grow and like have my life blossom to where it needs to be too. And like it seems like this creative thing is like a crab bucket. We're not really growing here. So
yeah,
when the things like that started dawning on me, I was like, man, this is for the birds. This is for the birds. But I still love it, and I still love to support, younger artists coming up and out the area because it's just like I know what you're kind of going through, especially if you are a little bit different. It's like because I remember even one show I was doing, and like someone was talking to me, and this couple wanted to get a video of me, and they was like, "Honey, can you just play your little song so we can get this video and go?" And I was
ugh,
just like, okay, and I just because they had dropped they dropped money. It was like it's a nice little change they dropped, but still it was just like, why are you reducing? Why is that so common for you to do that, to reduce someone to this level? So you just stuff like that would happen like more often than I would like, and it really just turned me off of like wanting to be known of coming from South Carolina. You get what I'm saying? Like I didn't want to be known that, oh, I came from South Carolina at all at that point. Like Chadwick Boseman, no one really knew that he came until after the fact he had passed. And there's a
yeah,
few other artists that, when they leave South Carolina, you don't hear them mention it too much until they're like all the way up there and stuff like that. Yeah, it's such a journey. It's such a journey, the music scene there. And like it does need more of like a some type of archy of hierarchy and lowarchy, so it can like I feel like so it can like set people off because there's so many. What we don't have nobody that's went national, international. What artist?
I see what you mean though. Like, well, we have Rennie Rucci, we have Black Zack,
We have Renee Reach.
um, Tori Moore, um, man, you have the producers. So it's like it's different pockets of people, but when we think about those people that are in those creative spaces, like there's the industry formula people, and then there's like the creative people. And when I think about the creative people like Tori Moore,
Oh yeah, more yeah.
yeah, so it's like I think that I don't know. I have this belief that this is just such a I don't know, it's such an energetic pull in this area. It's like I don't know, it's like a spirit over this state that like makes people be like, "Ooh, child, when I get out, I need to breathe." And then I can tell y'all I'm from there. Like
No, that's when you say that, there's nothing but facts. Like I just literally uprooted myself and moved to a bigger city. And like I'm still like dealing with the fragments of like, that the energy of that because it was so much harder trying to do everything there. Like everything. You just wanted to get up and brush your teeth. I mean, any and everything was just a little bit harder, felt backdated to a degree. Like I don't you get what I'm saying? Like I don't really know how to
I know
explain it to make it make
exactly what you mean, because like I will even think about times I travel. I feel so good and so energetic, and I'm back home now, and now I'm sitting in the car for a long time. Like I don't want to go back in that house. And give it about 2 weeks, and I'm back in that slump. And I've talked to others who are not originally from here, and we talk about the same dynamic. Like, girl, I'm back in South Carolina, so it can really be a deep it's a deep energetic pull. And I will always say, I do plan to move. I do plan to leave. But right now I'm like, if it was not for my contributions and the things that I do within the scene here, like I would have been wanted to leave. Because if I feel like if you don't have a community or a tribe, it's so much easier to leave. But I have that, and I've seen what a functioning tribe looks like. But even with having a tribe and community, it's just because artists are at a disadvantage, especially Black artists. You know, we're at a disadvantage as far as what resources we get. And we also have a lot of individual traumas of dealing with the scene, not even just the scene, but just life in general. So I feel like all of these things kind of trickle over into the scene, like just economic issues of, everybody's struggling, but everybody's struggling trying to, like, and sometimes when you're running a business, like I had to hear from somebody that's mentoring me in media right now, like your peer group is not the people that's going to put money in your pocket. As much as you want to help them out, you're not going to make no money from them. So then it leaves people like me who are very community minded, like, ooh, I don't want to leave my people behind, but I also need to make me some money, because if I don't make no money, I can't show up as fully. You know what I mean? We all need to survive. We all need to be compensated. But the very people that I want to help are the people who don't have the resources. So it can be a very rough space for trailblazers. You can always make something happen. You can make stuff shake. But after a while, you always want more, and you'll realize it is a ceiling. It is like a cap, and you have to kind of take it for what it is. And what I believe about this place is it's a great place to build, get your feet wet, and then you go to another city and really start to prosper the way you feel like you deserve. And you can prosper here in some varying degrees, but it will always be a ceiling, because this is just where we at. We have to understand, like, our state is eons behind when it comes to politics and education and all these isms. I took a lot of sociology classes, so
Okay, great.
that's a whole nother topic of getting into how these systems impact us physically, mentally, and spiritually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just they all like I don't know, like my mom describes it as like a dark cloud. It's like a dark
Yes.
cloud like over the state, and like you if you find your way out of it, don't come back. That's what the whole I don't know, like mm, I wish the best for people there, but it's just like a lot of like I'm just saying, like I'm thinking about like opportunities, job opportunities. There really wasn't any like that. There's some, but there's not, like for very specific industries. And if you're not those specific industries, the opportunities are slim, few, far and in between.
And even in industries, like I'm a resume writer and career consultant. So even in those industries, like for instance, my boyfriend, he's in IT. But when you look at some of the salaries compared to what you could make elsewhere, you'll be like, really? So even with those opportunities, it's still kind of like, I don't know. It's like people who are not from here. Like I always say, there's people who thinking about moving here. If you would get you a remote job from somewhere else that pays higher and come here, you're straight. But if you come here and subject yourself to the salaries they pay, no matter how qualified you are, there's still like a cap. Like I'm on the market right now looking for jobs. And it looked like I might have to settle for just a little bit less, which is why I'm gonna always keep me something on the side. But it shouldn't be that way. Like everybody shouldn't have to have 2 and 3 side hustles to survive, because their main job don't pay them enough, so
No, I'm with you on that. Like that was the biggest issue for me. It was just like, so you expect somebody to like deal with just $15 an hour, like for like this, and then treat them the way you want to treat them sometimes. So yeah, work from home job is definitely my way out. That was my best way out, was to get a job, work from home, and just like to start over and grind properly. But yeah, it's I don't know, like we understand everything each other's saying. It's just like it's a disbelief of like how much of the same thought we've had on these same subjects. Girl, that is a hot mess. That's a mess. Like, but no. What's next for Cree Media? What's next for like the upgrade for you, the push going forward?
well, so what I've done is change my brand name to Vibin with Creed, because I'm at a place in my life where I value peace over these ideas of who I'm supposed to be. Like, so I'm really wanting to, I've been trying to focus more on my personal life. So
Mm,
how much people notice this, but I used to update my social media content super, super often. And now I'm like, I don't care if I go weeks without it. Y'all gonna get what y'all gonna get because y'all vibing with Cree. And I don't want to become a slave to social media. So I
facts.
feel like I figure out those personal things, everything else is gonna fall in place. But I'm actually just still working on a rebrand. I will be partnering with a local media brand that's trying to help me, rebrand myself where I'll be doing, more interviews and media correspondent work. And I do plan to continue working on events, but I'm more so wanting to be more behind the scenes sometimes. Sometimes the event life can get really burnout is real, like all
Real.
this, and I can't. I'm kind of like a local celebrity now. I used to not want to admit that, but I am. I can't go nowhere with somebody don't know me, so I like to be behind the scenes. What I've been aiming to do is get back to my writing. I have been blogging, but I'm a long-winded writer, so it takes me a minute to kind of pump out content, and that which is why I've been like vibing with Cree, because I'm not going to tell you that you're going to get a consistent podcast episode or blog. I'm going to do what my spirit leads, because at the end of the day, I have to figure this thing out, and I'm okay with looking crazy in the process. Like, I'm just going where spirit leads me. So if spirit be like, you know what, Cree, lead us along for a couple of months, I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it is. It's on point. Yes, Kareem. But we here at the Elon Podcast want to thank you so much for coming and joining us. We really appreciate interviewing with you. You were excellent. The things we talked about, so on point. Things that people actually needed to hear too, especially as other creatives. So until then, did you want to leave a message for your audience or anything?
Yes, I would just tell you all to keep going, keep going, and keep envisioning the life that you want, and things will come to pass. It will be hard, but don't let that. But you have to choose your heart: the hard of staying stuck, or the hard of keep pushing, and know that support and love is out there, but you also have to give it if you want to receive it. So yeah, I think that's all I got.
Thank you so much, Cree. You have a wonderful day, rest of your day. And
Thank
once
you.
again, creatives, thank you. Once again, creatives, you guys keep creating.